Good morning. Hope your day is going well today so far. Okay, let's get into some charts. There is a lot to get through today, although really nothing that exciting. Maybe one or two, which are looking okay, but most of them I'm not too impressed with. But we'll go through them and see what you think. Okay, we'll start off with Aussie CAD. I'll go through these quite quickly because there's a lot to get through. Reasonable level here, going back in time. Been rejected. Let's have a quick pullback. The downtrend is still in place. There's no MACD divergence. MACD is looking pretty good. RSI is not oversold. Bit of a pullback. And how far is it going to pull back and retest the daily 50 before continuing down? Let's have a look on the hourly chart. And what we get here is a MACD divergence. So it's going to pull back. It's pulling back now. It's broken the 1 hour 50. Fibs line up quite nicely for a IBO. Is it an IBO A or an IBO B? It's an IBO A because the 4 hour trend, which we're on now, 4 hour chart, we've got higher highs, higher lows. So it's a IBO A, which is good. And so when it pulls back to the fib 382, which also lines up with the daily pivot, we can have a pitch snatcher or an IBO A setup, and you can take it up to the most conservative, of course, is the 4 hour 50, 1.3%, which lines up with the daily pivot R1, this line here, or you can have go up to day 20, sorry, day 50, this is, and get just over 2%. Okay. Close the door. Right, so that's one of the better ones, looking pretty good. Aussie Swiss. Similar looking chart. This level here, support level, this is much stronger level. It's got support here, and here, and recently here. Looks like it's pulling back to the 2050 zone, at least for continuous downtrend maybe. So similar kind of as before, the fib lines up well, daily pivot 382 lining up well. So either pitch snatcher or an IBO, and it looks like it's an A again, but it's decent pullback on the 1 hour chart. It's probably a pullback on the 4 hour chart. And there we go. When it does pull back to 382, give us an entry soon. Next few hours, then we can have both conservative 4 hour 50, just get 1%. In which case you'll just be doing the pip snatcher effectively, and go to R1, we're getting 1.7, take that to these highs, so 2%. That looks pretty good as well. So start off on a good note actually. Quite a few of them are not so interesting, but those two look pretty good. Right. Noisy street. So Aussie Kiwi, we had a breakdown, was expecting it to pull up yesterday to break to the upside, but it especially broke down through the daily 50. Hasn't really clearly broken the daily 50 yet, so this is one that I'm not too keen on. The pip only one really is the pip snatcher, because the ACB wasn't really a good ACB. Now actually pulled back to the 4 hour 50, just got back to the daily 20. So 4 hour 50 is the blue one, daily 20 is the red line here. So it broke away from that through the daily 50. It looks okay, but price action not that great. So pip snatcher, maybe. There's probably better Aussie trades out there. KGN, we've hit this level again, double top. Breaking down a nice looking bearish candle, and looks like it might fall back to the daily 20, daily 50. Not that convincing, but we look at the 1 hour chart, it looks pretty good. We've already hit the 4 hour 50, so this will be an IBO C, which does pull back. We also say, so the 382 lines up with the 1 hour 50 at the moment, so it does pull back in its few hours. It should be okay. Might have to whip through the 1 hour 50 to the 382 to give us an entry. Is there a pip snatcher? I don't think you get 1-to-1 before the 4 hour 50. I don't think the pitch snatch is on. But IBO, and it's an IBOB because there's no change in the 4-hour trend. And there's probably no change. Is there a change in the 1-hour trend? Entry here, not really, because we'll be guessing we've obviously got a lower low. We're not going to get a lower high until we've entered the trade. So it's a little bit more risky, but something maybe worth considering. 1.8% down to the S1, or we can push down just a little bit further. Do you want to see? You're Aussie. You're Aussie. So we've got this trend line which I've had in for a long time, and it still seems to be respected. And it's respected perfectly yesterday, which was quite strange. It's not really that great. Anyway, so you rejected again. I haven't adjusted. Actually, that's exactly how it was yesterday. And looking at, like, we are going, like with a lot of euro pairs, lots of euro pairs on here and pound pairs, very similar. Lots of high tests, or lots of rejection candles. In this case, a high test. Looking like we're going to go short today. So we've got lower high and lower low on the 1-hour chart. Change of trend, that's good. On the 4-hour, maybe not. But if we do get a breakdown, it needs to break down still and then pull back. So we need this to come from here down to about here somewhere. Pull back, so we've got a nice fib, and then take it down. Right, so the 4-hour 50 is a minimum target, which will give us just over 1%, 1.5%. Or you can take it down a little bit further if you want to, down to daily 20 and daily 50. So there's some options on there. Euro Aussie, looking okay. Euro Yen. Euro Yen, similar candle, very bearish looking candle. Deceleration as well, which is good. This level here is pretty strong. We've got, not quite here, but here we've got a definite major rejection here. And that's some support here. And then rejecting it again here. That's looking like a good DDP for short. The 1-hour is not giving us that great, in that we've basically got a very strong uptrend and they just broke down quite violently. So bit of a MACD, it's not great, is it? We've got a much higher highs, slightly higher highs in the MACD. So there is a MACD divergence to some extent, but not very convincing. And the fib also doesn't line up unless we have a very large breakdown. We need to break down basically the 4-hour 50, then pull back. So that is a possible, but not looking that great. So we'll keep an eye on it. So it looks in a few hours. Euro Kiwi. Another high test bearish looking candle. Is this a level? Quick eyeball of that level looks not that great. Lots of noise when we go up to this time in the past on the monthly. So maybe that's a level, but it's not looking that great. But a very bearish looking candle yesterday. So that's looking good. The fib almost lines up. If it doesn't go any lower, it's not the best, but if you wick through it, through to the 382, and also wick the pivot, then we could have an entry for an IBO. Again, it's an IBO-A because we've had no trend change as such, and so therefore a bit more risky. That's actually an IBO-C, so we've already touched the 4-hour 50. So it's an IBO-C. Profit target, not that great, 1.6%. If you take that to daily 20 here, or daily 50 here, it'd be a bit better. So that's an okay, not great looking one. Euro USD, we had a bit of a pullback yesterday, and then we day before yesterday, and then we've had the trend continuation to the short side. Look at the hourly chart, we can see we had a kind of ACB setup, not a great one, but there's a wedge there. You can make a wedge out of it. So we could consider the ACBB, which is basically an IBO following an ACB with a 4-hour 50 behind us instead of in front of us. So we've got a breakdown. The fibs, no choice really. It needs to break down further. If it doesn't break down any further, then fib lineup, not great. If it doesn't break down further, then it has to pull back to the 382 to make the valid setup, and then break back down through the 1-hour 50. And you'd enter on that break, I'd suggest. but hopefully it will pull back down a bit further and give us a better looking trade. Euro USD, don't have my hopes up too high on that one. Not one of my favourites. Pound Aussie. No deceleration, but a beautiful looking high test candle yesterday. And this level here looks okay. Not great. Not great. Go back and check it for yourself, make yourself feel comfortable about it, but it's not the best, not very good deceleration, but a nice looking candle. Now here we've got a good trend line that's strongly broken. We've got a MACD diversion, that much higher, it's not high on the MACD. Breakdown to here, but has a lot of work to do. It's to break down right down to here somewhere. Break down to about down to here, then pull back to the 1 hour 50, and then we can trade it short. So keep an eye on that one. Maybe it'll set up. I think a lot of pounds are very similar. A lot of work to do still. This is a very good level, so rejected that level. Looking to go short again, and it needs to break down much further before we'll get a valid entry because of the fib. So keep an eye on that one. Pound Kiwi. No deceleration, but a very bearish candle yesterday. Actually, it's a good level, which is probably why we have such a good strong rejection. Looking back here and also here, rejection. Pretty good level. Looking to go short again today, as with most pound pairs. And the fibs line up okay from here, which is good. Where it is, if it just pulls back now, then that line up well. 1 hour 50, you have to break through it briefly, just wick through it. Lines up also with the pivot, daily pivot, so pip snatches on, quick 1-to-1, and I think that's day 20, 2%. So that's one of the better ones. Pretty good setup, and probably one of the best pound setups. Pound USD, I think it's also pretty good. Doesn't look very good on the hourly chart. It's been kind of going sideways, rejecting the daily 50 again, but a pretty bearish looking candle yesterday. And like all the others, we've got basically a run up and a run down again, breaking through the 1 hour 50. And this is also broken the 4 hour 50. So although we've kind of got an IBO now, but we haven't because the fibs don't line up, it needs to break down a lot lower. And it's pound USD, so it's got 8 hours plus before entry. So potentially we did this, and we got a nice wide retest that could set up for a CBO. The 4 hour 50 is here as well. So keep an eye on that one. That could be an IBO, A, or a CBO short down to these lows. That could give you a good 2% plus. So that one looks potentially pretty good. You want to go through Kiwi CAD. Kiwi CAD, okay, we've had a rejection of this level, which is reasonably strong, I think, looking back. Not been back and I'd look at it. Very bullish day yesterday, looking for, there's a bit of room to daily 20, daily 50. And that's why I like it, because we have on the 1 hour chart, we've got the 4 hour 50 here as well. So we have a CBO setting up. Just pull back where it is now. The fib lines up really well. With the 4 hour 50, 1 hour 50 catching up, that could be a great little CBO. That's a daily 50. Here's a 2%er. So that one potentially looks pretty good for an entry in the next few hours. Kiwi Swiss. Similar thing. We've got a very bullish day yesterday. Not quite back to the daily 50 yet, so there's a little bit of room. And again, the CBO is the thing that looks nice here. We've got the 4 hour 50 here as well. It's kind of sideways, so not the best of price action in general, but the CBO does look good if we've got a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, earlier wave 4 is a pullback to the setup, and then wave 5 long to daily 50 will give us a 2.3%. So that could be very nice. Keep an eye on that one. Kiwi dollar. Got a lot to do today. Kiwi dollar, this is a very strong level. Looks like rejection here, 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 and then here. So we're looking for a bit more bullish action. Not very strong yesterday, but I guess it looks okay on the 1 hour, which is why I've selected it and the watch list. So we've fib lines up well with the break of the 1 hour 50. We've got a double bottom thing going on here. Maybe it's a higher high. By the way, it's pretty good. IBO A probably, and because we've got a change in the 4 hour trend, I imagine. I've got time to look at it, but trading up here, we're kind of entering about now, which is not, well, it's Kiwi. It's a Kiwi one, so it could be okay. Entering now, and after day 20 will give us 2.5% plus, so that's looking pretty good. Dollar yen. Dollar yen, very bullish day a couple of days ago, and then we've had 3 days ago, and then we've had 2 days of deceleration. Maybe it's going to break down. We've got a break of the 1 hour 50 here, and the fibs line up well, so that's ready to break down right now, or very, very soon. Entries about now, down to the 4 hour 50, which is good. Minimum price target, the 4 hour 50 on a pullback. So that's pretty good, because that gives us a good 2.2%, just the 4 hour 50, which is nice. Good. Dollar CAD. Dollar CAD, we've got an uptrend. It's had a little pause a few days ago. Yesterday it's really strong again. Maybe there's something in there. Only thing we've got really is a pip stature to the highs. Not a great rejection. It wasn't a rejection of 4 hour 50. So is this a level? Well, it looks like it is a level, because we've got resistance here, breakthrough, actually now support. That is pretty good. So pip stature here could be on. That looks 1 hour 50 is quite a way behind, so keep an eye on that one. Like the 1 hour 50 to catch up, and we've got another 8 hours for it to do so, so it could be okay. Dollar Swiss, very similar, pull back to a SR level in this case, very strong support level, and a bullish day yesterday. And we've got a pip stature lining up here. Again, the 1 hour 50 has got some catching up to do. We've got a few hours for it to do that. So that looks possible as well. So there's lots and lots of things to keep an eye on. Some looking really nice, some looking okay, and some looking not quite so nice. Keep an eye on them all. Wish you all the best. Sorry I had to talk so fast, but there's a lot to get through. I will catch up with you tomorrow. I will see you then. Good luck in the markets. Take care.